Namaste. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga Conference 2026, Sacred Community, walking the path of love together. I'm Happy Jack, the founder of Happy Jack Yoga and our host for today. And this is our second annual gathering where we've got over 40 monks, scholars, musicians, spiritual leaders from around the world. And so we opened the conference at the Harvard Divinity School a couple of weeks ago, and we'll close with the final gathering at Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. And together we're exploring how devotion or bhakti and really spiritual communities can support us on our paths. So we now have over 6,000 beautiful souls that have registered for the conference, including Harvard students, practitioners of bhakti yoga, yoga teachers, spiritual seekers from around the world. And really, it's meant to be a space of spiritual friendship, of shared inquiry, and of heartfelt conversation. So if you'd like, please leave a message in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. And just really, wherever you are, thank you for being a part of this global Sangha. It's now our honor to introduce today's speaker. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Hemarupa Caitanya Prabhu. I'll say a little bio here, and then we'll get things kicked off. So Hemarupa Caitanya Prabhu was born and raised in Malaysia with family roots in Kerala, India. In the 1930s, his grandparents relocated to Malaysia to work with the British government, one serving as a physician and the other as a technician. He holds a master's degree in electrical power engineering from University Tenaga Nasional, where he later worked as a lecturer. In 2012, he moved to India and has been based there since, initially on a yearly visa. Hemarupa first came in contact with ISKCON and Krishna consciousness at the age of 19, when devotees offered Gita courses at his university. He later met his spiritual mentor, Dr. Srivas Chaitanya Prabhu, who guided him on the path, and he is an initiated disciple of His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He is actively involved in sharing Vedic knowledge across colleges, universities, and corporate settings. And he also teaches within ISKCON, including programs such as Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav. With a natural love for languages, cultures, and traditional arts, Hemarupa is also a writer, a public speaker, and a debater, including British parliamentary and Australasian formats, and has participated in many interfaith dialogues. He has chosen to serve society as a full-time monk with ISKCON, offering spiritual guidance through anti-addiction support, moral education, and community-based social service. Currently, he serves at ISKCON Govardhan Eco Village in Galtar Wada, Palghar, reaching local villagers, children, and schools through Hari Katha, Hari Kirtan, and Hari Prasadam, and through its NGO, Govardhan Rural Development. He is among the managers overseeing GRD's education initiatives, which reach 90-plus schools and nearly 12,000 students across the Palghar district. These interventions include teaching science, mathematics, electronics, coding, IQ development, and moral values to students from grades 1 through 11. Today we are so excited to welcome Hemarupa Caitanya Prabhu for a conversation on Varnashrama today, socio-spiritual community. My friends, if you are ready to welcome Hemarupa Caitanya Prabhu, please throw your arms in the air and loudly chant Haribol!
Haribol!
Prabhu, we're honored to have you here with us. Again, welcome back. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga Conference.
Thank you so much for having me. Grateful to be amidst all of you.
It's an honor, and it's a familiar face I'm seeing with many of our community here. You were with us last month for an incredible course that you led for us. And but now we're here to dive into a really important topic. Before we jump there, though, as you know, we love to get to know our guides, our teachers, before we jump into the wisdom. So your journey, it began in Malaysia with roots in Kerala, and now you're serving as a monk in India. And so if you looking back, what are some of the pivotal moments that gradually led you from engineering and academia toward a life of spiritual service?
I guess maybe like everyone else, when we see the realities of this world, for example, while studying, everyone has ambitions that I'll get a PhD, I'll get a double PhD, I'll, get a huge scholarship or something like that. I'll be that person, a huge figure in the field or something like that. And then at the same time, we see some of the idols who we look up to at that time, but they don't live very ideal lives. Like I've seen my own professors kind of like, uh, when there's a funding that comes in from the government, and then they're discussing like how we can kind of like siphon some cash. And I'm like, these guys already earn enough. And why they're thinking about, trying to cheat the fundings and this and that. It's such a very degrading, lowly behavior. So kind of make you think that, education is not all that. That education doesn't make you a good person. Education doesn't necessitate that you are, you become better as a person. So then we start looking for something else. And that's the time that spirituality came in. And I find that, spirituality can really make you a good person. So if you have education and you have spirituality, you are a good person and you're an equipped good person. You're a good person, equipped good person who can do more for society. So then I found it very empowering.
I love that. That's beautiful. It's very mature. Like at that age, at that stage of life, it's so easy to be attracted to, the not as high qualities, but just the fact that you had that integrity and you saw the light, and now you are that light for us. And so thank you for sharing that. Many of the community, we've got to spend a lot of time with you and spend time with you at Govardhan Eco Village. We'll be back again later this year, but and I know like we could keep hearing about your story, but you're very humble, and you want to jump into the topic. But so your title is Varnashram Today, Socio-Spiritual Community. And for many of us in the yoga community, this term may be unfamiliar or even a little bit intimidating. And so simply put, what is Varnashram?
So like our major topic of this entire conference is about community building. There's a saying that no man is an island. Humans are a social species. We need community. We need each other. No one can survive alone. And the Vedas, they also echo the same thing. And they present this kind of like a community building tool called Varna Ashram, where the Varna is the social stages or the social different segregations, and the ashrama is the spiritual segregations, all meant to elevate a person both materially and spiritually. So the Varna Ashram system is a very scientific system to help people live in this world and attain perfection in the next life, in the next world. So it's divided very systematically and into nice categories. So I give you an example. And this is something that you can't avoid. It's not that you can create something. Everyone has a role to play. Bhagavad Gita, which being the main text, out of 700 verses, two kinds of verses repeat twice. One verse which repeats twice is Lord says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Oh, just always think on me, just always worship me, just always love me, just always serve me. And without doubt, you will come back to me. So this is like the perfectional goal of life. You just love God, serve God, think of God, and go back to God. Wow. But life is not all that. We have a body, we have family, we have to eat, we have to work, we have to earn. So someone may say it doesn't seem so practical. So the second verse in the Bhagavad Gita, which repeats itself, is saying how one should work. That means one should do some activity according to one's nature. According to one's nature, one should work out in this world, do an activity, do a contribution. Because whilst we have this body, we have to do some action. So this is the practical aspect of spirituality. God also realizes that we are conditioned in this body. So long as we are in this body, we have to work with it. So it's like being in this world, but focusing on the next role as well. So these, and just for 700 verses, if it's repeated twice, and
Yeah.
there's the only things which are repeated twice, that means there's some emphasis to it. So this in short is the Varna Ashrama. So there are four fields of work for material prosperity, and there are four fields of living for the spiritual advancement. So these two have to come together. So I think we should, spiritual, everyone kind of gets it, you do your spiritual path and move on. But material, are we actually at least happy materially? That's also quite important. That's important part of community.
Yeah. I love that. And so this idea of this like a healthy varnashram. So my understanding is like different roles. We have different roles, but it's not that like one is higher than the other, but rather they're like complementary forms of service. But it doesn't always feel that way, or doesn't always show up that way in modern world. Like how can we cultivate this sense of mutual respect and this kind of this sacred interdependence?
Yeah, so whenever there's a distinction, segregation, there's always going to be some feud and some fight. One is better than the other, or who's better. And India, or Indians, or Hindus, they get blamed of being casteist. There's hierarchies, and you're putting people down. You're kind of like this and that. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna about the science of this Varnashram. Krishna says, Chatur Varnam Maya Shrishta. He said, I created these four Varnas, and they are divided, Guna Karma Vibhagasa. They are divided according to Guna, which means qualities, and Karma, which means actions. So, based on your qualities that you exhibit, based on the kind of work or the action that you do, you are known by one of these four. It's not by birth. So it's like today, someone who's born, you must have heard this, a Brahmana, Brahmins, like a priest, very pure family. So someone will say that, oh, my father is a big priest, my father is a big Brahmin, therefore I'm also a holy person. No, it's not inherited. It's not that you're born with it. You have to earn it. It's just like someone, a son of a very big surgeon. Okay, the most famous surgeon you can think of in Canada, the United States, or Europe. And he's the son, and the son goes like, my dad is the best at surgery. Therefore, give me a go at it. I'm also good at surgery. I said, no, just because you're the kid doesn't mean you can do surgery. You have to be qualified for it. So this is the unfortunate thing that has happened in India, where people born in a certain family, they kind of, hereditary, they kind of claim rights to it. Like a prince, son of a king, says that my father ruled this kingdom very nicely, and I will rule it next. Well, if you can't even lift up a sword, then how can you be king? So actually, it does not necessitate hereditary. It necessitates guna, the qualities that one exhibits, and karma, the kind of action that one does. So this is what Krishna has already spoken to Arjuna. Unfortunately, it has been misused, and therefore we are comparing, and we're saying that one is better than another. It's not like that. If you take, for example, a college, you have your professors, your teachers. Are they the most important part of the university? Well, in one sense, yes. If you don't have teachers, then what kind of college is it? But then again, you have administrators, the people who go out and pitch and publicize and market the courses and run the courses and make sure there are tables and chairs and boards. Aren't they not the most important part of the college? Well, they are as well, they are needed. And what about then the non-technical staff, the people who go around, run the canteens, keep the floors clean, keep the toilets clean, those who purchase everything, those who do the landscaping, right? And those who drive people around. What about them? Are they not an important part of the college? Well, yeah, they are. So in this way, everyone is actually important. You can't have one without the other. It will not work. If you talk about a college or university, you must have your technical staff, your non-technical staff, your academic staff, your white collar workers, your blue collar workers, call them what you need. So this is actually a natural community. And therefore it is very, very unnatural to say that let us this is kind of like communism, like let us all be one level, one function. It will not work because everyone is functioning at a different level based on their own interest and nature.
That's so helpful the way you explain it, and just thinking about like our reality of today, so many people feel pressure to fit into a role that doesn't align with their nature, right? Either social media pressure, pressure from parents, whatever it happens to be. How does the Vedic wisdom or Sanatan Dharma help us discover like our authentic nature and how we should contribute to the world? How do we discover that?
So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna warns. Krishna says that if you try to mimic another person's nature, you create fear. You create fear in yourself, you create fear in society because it's not healthy. Like if a person is hopeless at being a teacher, but his parents, grandparents, everyone in his family were teachers. So they felt that, oh, it's my profession, it's my birthright to uphold the family name, to also become a teacher. But the guy might not even like teaching. Then he's going to be a really, really, really crappy teacher. He's just going to spoil the kids and spoil himself and just spoil the whole teaching field itself. So we have to be very real.
Right.
We have to be very real with ourselves. So some telltale signs of these different fields of work are given. For example, there are four. So I'm just going to give the English definitions of this. The four fields of work begins the first with artistry. Artistry are those who are involved in making the world more beautiful, pleasurable. They provide support and they make things function. These are the people who help us, tailor make our suits and create tables for us to sit with and create the softwares by which we can chat on Zoom. These are the people who make life pleasurable, beautiful. They're the salt and spice of life. Now, these are the people that sometimes we do not acknowledge the most. Like if someone comes in to clean our room, or in a hotel room, you have room service. And these are the people who are just making things functional for us. If they were not there, nothing is going to function. So in society, these are the largest population of people. Now, unfortunately, they have been looked down on the most because we consider them like the, menial class of workers. They are just doing their stuff. Get out of here. But actually, these people require a lot of acknowledgement. And if without them, we cannot. They are the ones who create our clothes. They are the ones who do the piping and the electrician work. So they make things beautiful. So their mood is always in the mood of service. This is called the field of artistry. Now, before I go any further, I'm speaking all this from this beautiful book, right? This beautiful book called Career Dharma. It's like a thesis in itself. It's written by Urmila Best and Ruchita Datta. So these are two fantastic devotees who have done years and years of work understanding one's nature in functioning in these four fields. And they give honor to all these four fields. So the first is artistry, those who actually provide pleasure and support. And sometimes people may feel shy to be an artist. I'm a painter, or I'm a poet. There's not much, like you said, there's a lot of pressure in society. Oh, what? You just want to dance? You want to become a dancer? At least I can even say it, if it's in India, even the West, it's the same, isn't it? If the kid comes up, grows up and says, Mom, I want to be a dancer. Oh, you're going to starve and die. You're not going to have any money. Isn't it? What do you think, Jack? Isn't that some kind of a...
Yeah, but
Yes.
when we're in Govardhan Eco Village, I mean that's what we do. We dance, we sing, and we're the happiest people. You're the happiest.
Yeah, but here is doing this as a job, as an income. Like this is your livelihood,
Yeah.
working as a livelihood. So we are talking not just hobbies, not just action, we're talking about as a livelihood. But the Vedic system says there is a place for such people. Such people should be recognized, they should be given remuneration. They create this salt and spices in life. They make all our living. So, we like to watch movies, like to watch entertainment. So these are the people that do a lot of support. But unfortunately, society as a large looks down on them as the most, unprogressive members of society, which is wrong. So part of understanding Varnashrama is to respect everyone. In the body, if you have to consider these four types of work as a cosmic body, the artisans or the artistry field are considered like the feet. Now, we don't give care to our feet so much. But can you, if someone asks you, you have to, cut off your feet, you will not do that. We may not give so much attention to our feet, but we still want our feet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys are like that. And the second one is called the field of, let's take resources. The field of resources. These people are the ones that make societal wealth. They're thinking about that everyone should be rich. We should earn, others should earn. They're the field of resources. They're thinking about what is sustainable, what is regenerative, what is profitable. Now, some people may think that, oh God, these guys are just exploitive money people. No, they are the ones who wants to ensure that everyone has enough to eat, enough to wear. They are the ones that everyone is financially happy, financially secured. These are the people who create banks, banking schemes, who always want to think about savings. So they ensure that society functions happily because everyone needs money, right? So that is the second person. The third is the field of governance. These are the people that ensure society is protected. Their focus is that everything should be just and honorable, accordance with the law, concern for the law, moral and ethics. These are the police of society. Now you need such people as well. They are managers, they are leaders, they are the
Oh, we lost Hemarupa. Let's see. Wi-Fi in India. I'm sure he'll be right back in a second. Cliffhanger. Artists, managers. Let's see if the Wi-Fi comes back on in GEV. But in the meantime, I mean, just thinking about this, like it makes me think about my nature and how I was brought up as a kid and kind of encouraged to be a certain way, to do a certain thing, and then eventually kind of waking up to discover our true nature. Let's take a share though, just until Hemarupa. We'll keep an eye on him, see when he hops back in here. But let's check in with our friend Terhi. Let's get Terhi over in Finland on. Terhi, when you think about this, I'm so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you.
When you think about like kind of your different nature, right? We've known you for 10 years now, and you were on a very different path, and then you discovered yoga, and then you really decided, hey, this feels right, and you kind of went all in, and you've been sharing it and healing and helping others. What kind of resonates with you as you're hearing about this Varnashrama and the different natures?
For me, like the food example. Oh, he's back. So I'll be quick.
Yeah, but still share. Please share what was on your heart, Teddy, and then we'll jump back.
Yeah, because I love the concept of noticing everyone's contribution. Because it's not like we need to just appreciate the people who are high up on the hierarchy, but instead we need to appreciate everyone, because even the smallest task, like if the cleaning crew goes into a strike in a hotel, it's going to be a literal shit show, soon enough. So it's like when they work hard, people don't notice them, but when they don't, like the moaning starts immediately. So in that sense, this resonates so deeply, because I've done like high-end jobs, but I've been also doing cleaning and like shoveling horse dung and whatnot, cleaning barns, and I've loved it. And I've always known that, okay, this is significant. This is not fancy, but this has a point, and I'm proud of what I do. And I hope that this will go further, like people start to understand that not everyone has to have like a fancy title or fancy acronym for some letters, because everybody is equally important for the ecosystem that we create.
I love it. Beautiful, beautiful reflections. Thank you so much. Well, let's send our love to Suomi, Finland. Tedhi, thank you so much for sharing. We got our leader back here. Prabhu, welcome back.
Yeah.
You left us on a cliffhanger in the middle.
I'm sorry. I don't know. It must be one of the fields.
All good.
So we were discussing on the third field, which was the arms of society. That is governance. So these are the protectors, those who instill law. Now, these people have it in their neck. They are able to actually put down their foot and apply justice. So they have that nature. They are the people who would run towards emergencies. They would run towards chaos. They are the firefighters, the police department. They have it in their blood. The defense, the military, they would run towards chaos. And most of us will run away from chaos. But these people will go in first. So such people are very much needed in society. And the fourth are the people in the field of ideas. These are the people who provide guidance, wisdom, vision. They are the most intellectual of all the fields, right? But at the same time, they teach others how to use or perform work properly. They are not always teachers. They may not necessarily be teachers, but they are truth seekers. So they can present truth in many ways. They could be doctors, because a doctor has to tell you, if you don't lose that weight, you're going to die. So the doctor has to be very straight, right? Or you got cancer, you got this, they have to be very in your face kind of thing. Doesn't mean they're rude. So they speak about philosophy, they speak about truth. They may even be into fine art, because fine art has a lot of tradition and truth in it. So they may not be artisans, but they may be into fine art. That's also possible. So these are basically roughly, and they are compared to the head of society. They are compared to the head. Now, if someone asks you which is important to you, your head or your feet, you'll say, well, can't I have both?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, if a big if, we had to compare in terms of which has higher importance, then we'll say head, because the head has to lead everyone. You can live without feet, but you can't live without a head.
Yeah.
You can live without an arm. There are people who live without stomachs, but you can't live without a head. So in that sense, if we had to compare, which is not necessary at all, but if the head is right, the whole body is right. If the head is whacked, then the whole body is off for a toss. So that means how much important are the people in the field of ideas.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of real world example. So your experience, you've been a teacher of students, of villagers, of communities. Do you have any real world examples of how these principles, this Varnashrama you're talking about, how it can actually create harmony?
Yes. So actually, these principles are already existing. Even in our modern society, they do that. You have your bureaucrats, you have your bankers, you have your, farm owners who give the produce, and you have those people who just do all the work and help society. It's always existing everywhere in society, because it's a God-created system. You may not have the same name, but everywhere you see in the world, you'll find these four fields. The problem is they are not, even if they're acting in their field, they are not doing, let's say, a just or honest work. So for the person sitting on the top who's giving wisdom, sometimes they may exploit others by telling people the wrong kind of wisdom, leading them astray, false logic, false philosophy. So there's a height in that. A person administrating justice, if he's not honest in his administering justice, there could be a lot of scams going on. A person in resources, there could be a lot of exploitation. A person providing service in the field of artistry, they could just cheat. And you find, nowadays you have all those cheap products where you use for 3 months and it breaks down, and someone promises you is the best thing ever. So this is what happens. These are all, kind of like bad shades of these fields.
Yeah.
So this is it's a very dangerous thing then. One should act according to one should honor the fields. That's why it's called as dharma. Dharma means to act as per the field's nature, our nature accordingly.
Yes. Okay. I love that. And so, connecting it into the conference theme, so that, a sacred community, this idea of walking the path of love together, discovering, knowing our nature. How can this idea of Varnashram support like the creation of healthy spiritual communities. I guess I'm curious, for those who don't know, Hemarupa Caitanya Prabhu is part of a very beautiful spiritual community, Govardhan Eco Village. Does that show up there? Because if we just go there for a week on retreat, we just see these happy monks dancing and singing, and is it all just blissful joy vibes, or is this Varnashram system also existing at a beautiful spiritual community like GEV?
So I would say that we are all developing it. Unfortunately, the earlier Vedic times, in the earlier ages, there used to be this system called Gurukula, which is like a school where children are sent to at the age of 5 till 25. 20 years they stay under the guidance of a headmaster or a teacher that watches over these children day in, day out, trains them, takes care of them. And after 20 years of constant supervision and understanding, they can make out that what your nature is. Today's day and age, when we are 25, 26, we don't even know what we want, where we are going, what we're supposed to do. We are so lost. So that's the worst part. I'm thinking like, what do you want to do in life? Whatever earns me the most money. That is our answer to everything. And that's not who we are. So that's the biggest danger when you have people in the wrong field. For example, if a person is of the nature of an artistry, and they are put as the judge, or they take a position of a judge. So someone comes and cries in the courtroom, "Oh, dear sir, I'm so sorry. Really, I didn't want to. I'm mistaken." They may say, "Oh, yeah, it's okay. I forgive you." Come on, man. How are you going to lay down the law? You need someone who can actually do it, right? So it won't work. Or if someone is in the field of ideas and they are told to do some plumbing or carpentry, they'll be like, "I don't care what you like, whether you want mahogany or you want oak or you want teak. I'm going to do what I can do. That's it." So how are you going to serve people if you're so rigid, So this is what happens in society, where people find themselves very unhappy. So of course, in Govardhan Eco Village as well, we don't have like a system to track your nature. But again, the principle is, over a long period of observation of ourselves and of seniors observing us, they can kind of understand where you fit in. And in a community, we have huge options. Again, all these fields that I'm sharing, they are broad fields. It's not just like a one job, two job. There can be thousands of work and jobs in one field. But the essence of that field, that is fixed.
I got it. Okay, and then you have some different leadership roles, different leadership positions, and others on the call here do as well. And of course, in bhakti, we want to cultivate qualities like humility and a seva oriented mindset. So in your spiritual life, what practices, or how do you stay grounded in humility, even when you've got these leadership roles, you're speaking, you're a leader, leading these different philosophy classes? How do you stay grounded in humility?
I think we become humbled if you're not humble enough by the situations.
Yeah.
So, am I audible? Is it okay?
Yeah. So so essentially just becoming humbled is.
Yeah, because of the situation around you. Like, for example, we are all given some leadership position, but it's not that everyone has an ingrained leadership ability. So those who can lead naturally, like they're in the field of governance, they will outshine everyone else. They can handle 10 different projects at one time, and they are able to just zoop, 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 do all this. But the rest of us are told to handle just one thing, and we are like, it's like beyond me. But I just have to do it. I may not do it very well, but I just have to do it. And I may not be very excited for it. So sometimes these are things that you just have to do it. And that actually keeps us quite humble, because we know we kind of like, we don't ace at it. So in life, in modern day living, there are just things we are non-negotiable. We just have to do it. But it may not be our nature. It's not our strong suit, as they say. So.
Okay. And so, you talked about this idea of Gurukul, where in the traditionally, a young student would go and spend 20 years, being guided to really help discover what their nature is. So if there's somebody watching today and they feel uncertain about, what is my role in life, what's one step that we can take to begin discovering our nature, our authentic contribution to society?
A lot of introspection. It's never too late to introspect. So you look back at your life, you kind of see that all the situations where you got into trouble and all the situations where you got some kind of recognition. So, for example, throughout my life growing up, when I look back now, I'm like now realizing that I always used to teach my friends, even in school. Somehow or other, I would get 5 people together and I'll teach them math or I'll teach them science. And that's like right after the teacher has taught them in class. I would like to clarify doubts. I would like to always guide. I never knew that in the future in my life I'll ever be doing something like this. But it's kind of like a subconscious or unconscious pattern. Similarly, we have seen people that if they look back very carefully at their life, they have always been the group leader, the class monitor, the person representing the person, always standing in front, going ahead. So they are natural leaders. Whereas there are all others who are always seeing themselves being very helpful to others, concerned about what others think about, and trying to always just so this dharma, what we say, it's a nature, it's intrinsic. It will not go away. It's not something to be gained. It's just something for us to recognize. So for others, from all of us who never had that 20 years of beautiful personal observation in our lives, then we just have to introspect our own lives for ourselves and see what are the times that I keep going wrong. For example, I'm not a manager, but I realize that whenever I have to deal with people working under me, I really burn them out. And again, I'm thinking like, why is there always this friction? Because I'm not good at managing people. I'm not a manager. So there's huge friction. Every time I try my best, I try to be nice. They climb on my head. I be too hard. They say you're too hard. And I don't know that diplomacy, that diplomatic kind of talk. And I don't have that. So that means I'm not a manager. So we have to really look back over multiple instances. And in this book, like I'm saying, they give beautiful case studies. They've interviewed over 200 different people, from waitresses to surgeons to doctors, and just giving all this career counseling. It's actually an online course, by the way, which we had training in. So we're just sharing this.
That's beautiful. And now, it's again just looking at the yogis who are here with us. Many of them are yoga teachers and community leaders. And what advice could you offer to us? For those of us that want to build community rooted in these kind of spiritual values that we learn about in Bhakti, without the competition or division, how can we, what advice would you have for us to help? Because we don't have the luxury of 20 years to really know their nature. How do we interact with others and really bring people together and empower them? If we're not a manager, like you just described, maybe we don't have that manager quality. What can we do?
Yeah, I think at least specifically speaking about the field of yoga, because many yogis and yoga teachers are here. So sometimes we all think like I did a bit of yoga, I kind of aced at the yoga thing. I opened my own yoga school, but after a while I realized that I'm not doing as well as the others. So why is that? Am I not a yogi? No, I'm a yogi. I love yoga. I can practice it, but I'm not doing as well as others who are growing. Someone grew from, 5x in the last 2 years, as they say, the business terms. So then probably we are not much of a manager. But that's the beautiful thing about community living, that you can do what you do, but you can assist others. You can plug yourself into various levels. So you may not be a leader of a yoga school, but you can co-create. If you're an idea person, like myself, if I give an example, myself and Jack, so he's like a leader person. He gets things done, he gets things organized, he does that. My role is more of an idea giver. So both of us, I mean, I'm fortunate that he allowed me, that we got together and we kind of came up with a schedule for when the yogis visit India, and we thought about future schedules. We kind of like working back and forth. So I kind of give the ideas, he gets it done, he executes it because he's like the manager type. So we don't have to be very insecure that I have to be a leader, I have to be a manager, I have to do what Jack is doing. No, based on our own strengths, we can still join and we can still assist the community. So similarly, there may be someone who is not an idea giver, who is not a manager, but is more of a resource person, thinking that how this can be productive, how this can be profitable, right? So then they advise maybe Happy Jack Yoga, whatever yoga school, because maybe Jack is not so good at finance. So then someone comes and tells, how we can actually improve like this, do like this, help them as well. They can market different courses, how we can do, if you share a link, then probably you get some money or something like that. No, you have a person who's more into thinking about what is regenerative, profitable, so that a person can advise in that way. And there may be just people who are very good in, assisting. Like, oh, Jack, I heard you're taking a group to India. Can I be a caretaker? Can I just come along to like guide them? Can I just be there? If you need to set things up, you need to get people on there on time. I'll just assist. Or I'll do the videography for you. I'll do the photography for you. Or, these are all people in the frame of artistry. So we should get it out of our heads that we should always be leaders. We can be leaders in our own fields. So think more about co-creators. I think that removes a lot of tension in people that people have. Success is not a one person thing. It's everyone coming together. So we should be happy that I can just assist. It's like fingers of a hand, They say, who's doing the most work? The opposable thumb, the index finger. These are the guys that does most of the whole work, isn't it? The pulling the trigger and all that. What does this guy do?
Not much.
I don't know, but but this guy definitely gets in on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
He gets in on it. So we should. I mean, we are all there, so we don't have to feel inferior. Or we don't have to feel bad about it, or we don't have to feel like that. We should just be very real with ourselves. Be happy that we are part of a community, seeing the community success, seeing a common goal, like everyone is growing. That should make us happy. And realize that if everyone is growing, then I'm also growing with them. Not I'm trying to outgrow them.
Yes, I love that. And I mean, for me, having spent years like just trying to do stuff on my own, and it takes so much time and energy and effort, and like the uphill battle. And as you say, when we start collaborating and we got beautiful souls on this call who are part of the community, and just being able to co-create together, it's so much more fulfilling and rewarding, and get to have even more of an impact. So I think and I feel like the bhakti qualities, what we learn, these Vaishnav qualities make it easier. That being said, sometimes when people hear just about structure in general, right? Structured social systems, they feel that it can limit their freedom. And so how might a properly understood Varnashram system actually liberate us to like flourish in our nature rather than restrict us?
So, yes, that is true. In a material sense, there are levels, there are layers. And because of all that, people are going to feel restricted. That I can only do this much. I can only grow this much. I am the guy who does photography for Happy Jack Yoga. I can never be a Happy Jack. So one may feel like that. Okay. But anyways, that is on a material level. There's always limitations. But the goal is not to be a leader. We are doing all this so that we can live happily with each other, that we don't strangle each other's necks. Community means co-creation. Community means cooperation. Community means communal living. We're just supposed to live with each other, survive each other. Why? Because the greatest goal is all of us are going back home, back to Godhead, leaving this world and going back to the spiritual world, serving God. That is an eternal goal. This is a temporary contract, collaboration, collab, temporary, working things out that, hey, you do this, I do that. Let's just not stab each other, be happy, and then, focused on going ahead. So I think if that goal of spirituality as the goal is there, right, the goal of spirituality as the destination, then we can understand that this is just a temporary layers and you don't have to get too worked out about it.
I love that. It's just bringing it back to this idea of collaboration and serving together. So maybe just I see questions coming in, so we're going to take audience Q&A here in a minute. But just like, what would you say, what is the most important thing that people should understand about the true vision of Varnashram? Just like the essence in a sentence or two.
Cooperation is one of the most difficult qualities to cultivate because one has to put aside one's ego. And one cannot attain spiritual life if one has ego. So they are non-different. We are working to live with each other, survive with each other, grow with each other. And in that way, actually, spiritually, we are growing because spiritual life necessitates that we don't have ego. And a person who is egoless, they would work with each other regardless. They would live with each other.
I love that. That's what we experience when we go to Govardhan Eco Village every November. So thank you for the wisdom, and I've got so many questions, but we want to open it up here. I see Karnika. Are you able to come on video, Karnika Nanda? Yes, amazing. Let's get you on video, and you got a great question in the chat. But please, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Columbia, Missouri.
Amazing. Well, we're so happy to have you here with us. And please, a question for Prabhu.
Okay. So, Prabhu, I am a service-oriented person, but then I am an artist too. I do a lot of artistry with my florals and stuff. I do a lot of floral artistry.
Wow.
So, and I don't know, where do I belong in my path of the Dharma and Varna system?
So both are the same thing, actually. Service to people, service to society, helping others. And because when you make these beautiful floral designs, in your mind, you're thinking that, when people appreciate this or when they use it, that's going to make you happy. It's not like while you're painting, you'll say, I'm going to get $1 million out of this, $1 million out of this. Okay, if you get it, it's fine. Everyone needs money. But more than that, you're thinking that if someone hangs it up, uses it, or if someone who, like, for example, if it's in a hospital and a kid who has cancer looks at it and feels that this just lights up my day. How does that make you feel? That makes
amazing.
You like, wow, this is, yeah. So that's the same thing. That is the feel of artistry. You just want to, you create things which are beautiful, pleasurable. You make things work for others. So that's fantastic.
And the fun thing is, like, as you just said, like, I sell it, but I don't sell it for money. I have a job, but I do creative stuff in that. But when I sell it, half the time I give a lot of stuff for free because it makes people happy.
Yeah, but even if you did it for money, there is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing because we all need money. Even monks need money.
Yes. Oops.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you.
beautiful. Thank you for the question. Hare Krishna. We're sending our love to Karnika in Missouri. Beautiful, beautiful question. Because it is sometimes like, well, I've got some of these qualities and some of those qualities. Which am I? Where do I fit? But let's see, other questions. Other questions, raise your virtual hand, or we'll call on some yogis. Let's check in with Achintya Murti Devi Dasi. I'd love to hear your reflections, questions for Prabhu. And where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Delhi, India.
Amazing. So happy to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Any thoughts?
Yeah. So kind of the same question. Like I am associated with ISKCON Ghaziabad over here. So I go to temple on every Sunday. That makes me feel really good. Like I have some seva. As you know, Mandir has some seva. So I do some seva. And then I am in a job. I'm an engineer also. I work as an engineer in Accenture. And I like to write. Like I'm a writer too. I'm an author. I like love stories. So the same question as Karnika Mataji has asked, that where do I belong, right? Because I love to write, actually. I love it. And I never got money from that writing. But yeah, I post them in Amazon. I have books. And yeah, I love it. and it is semi-spiritual, but they are generally love stories, real love stories.
So writing may seem to be very an academic work. One may think that writers may be an ideas person, one who has a lot of wisdom. But even writing has different genres. For example, if people who write fiction, people who write romance novels, adventure novels, what is the purpose of their writing? To create pleasure for those who read it. They want to create beauty in life. So they are not so much of those who present truth. So the ideas that we are speaking, people in the field of ideas who present wisdom, they are, non-fiction writers, and they are the ones who talk about the social ills of society or the rights in society. So they present through their work. Movies and writers in general, if they talk about something which just gives pleasure, then that is not in the field of ideas. It may be in the field of artistry. So engineers by default are all those in the field of artistry, because engineers, we just provide functionality to people. We create the codings, engineers are all in the field of artistry. We are all just providing functionality, get things working. Things are broken, very gross. Broken, fixed, broken, done. Ones and zeros.
That's so good. I love that. Thank you for sharing, Achintamurti Devidasi. Are you familiar? Have you heard of the Mayapuris?
Yeah, I born near Mayapur, Bardhaman. So 2 hours away from Mayapur. I have been to Mayapur several times actually.
But the band, the Mayapuris, do you know that kirtan?
Yeah, definitely, yes.
So
yes.
I just mentioned them. They spoke at the conference on Friday, and so one of them, Bali Rico, I brought it up because he wrote this book. So he's in a corporate, he's got a PhD and he's got a corporate job, but he's also in the Mayapuris and also wrote this book. So just this idea of like what Prabhu said, when we're artistic and we like to create, whether that's in engineering, whether it's in writing, but we look forward one day to reading some of your work. Please keep us posted.
Sure, definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, let's send some love to Delhi, India, Achintamurti Devidasi. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Hare
Krishna. Other questions, shares, reflections. Let's see. Let's set this Shraddhanjali. Let's bring on here. Did I catch? We had a connection with Finland also.
Yes, it's Shraddhanjali Devidasi, Shraddha and Anjali.
Yes, beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, I'm. My mother was from Finland, so
me too. That's how I met Devi.
Hey.
Yeah. But reflections on what we've heard today.
Yeah, I really I love this because I don't think it's talked a lot about in ISKCON. I don't hear too much about it, and I think it's really close to people's lived lives to understand this Varnashram. I was very lucky to have a career in librarianship, which was definitely my nature. And I love how even as a child, when you could look back and see the kinds of ways you were, that I was always helping people. I was always reading and recommending books to people, even as a child. So I found that path. But any path, I was really thinking like any path could be combined with bhakti. And this class really, really cemented that for me. Like it was just, yes, you can make it, dovetail it to bhakti practice and the mode of goodness.
Thank you, Mati. Actually, that is very true. When we were going through this course, we are taught also that every work is sacred if we can make it pure, because we have to think in the back of our minds that this is our contribution to the universe.
Yes.
This is a contribution to the Lord who's everywhere. So every work is sacred, every work is beautiful, and we just have to keep the dharma intact, the purpose of it, which again, we remember that ultimately it's a spiritual destination.
Yes, and every person you encounter when they come up to the reference desk with a question, I would look at them and think, Krishna's in their heart, you know.
Nice. What a beautiful way to see the world and to interact with people. Oh my goodness. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Shraddhanjali. Wow. Well, let's send our love, gratitude to the great state of Missouri. Also, beautiful connection to Team Finland. And let's see, we got another hand that came up here. Are you able to come on video, Kripamoya Prabhu, to ask the question? Yes. Beautiful. Welcome, Kripamoya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me? Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Well, I got a question. I mean, it's more like a bit of a comment or a question. I realized, taking parts of where Krishna is advising Arjuna to perform your duty, even if he's not successful in it. Because Arjuna wanted to run to the forest to become a Brahmin, and Krishna said, no, just perform your duty. But even if you're not successful, it is that the success is that you perform your duty, even if the results are not according to what you do. So how are we if we dovetail our activities to something according to our nature, but we're not successful at it? Because the world is more result orientated. That's how they see us. So what would Prabhu comment on that?
Good question. Wow.
If, in short, if we do something which is against our nature, what will be the outcome? So Krishna mentions that in these two verses. Basically, I just highlight them. This is in the Bhagavad Gita, if anyone wants to look up. This is 3.35 and 18.47. So Krishna in these two verses, 3.35 and 18.47 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions what will happen if you do something which is against your nature. Now, you may be successful at it, or you may be bad at it. But here Krishna then mentions that one is you create fear in the world, you create bhayavaha. It becomes a vehicle of fear, because it just, you will not be satisfied, you'll always be disgruntled, you'll be frustrated. It just doesn't fulfill your heart, doesn't fulfill your nature. Second thing is, one will get sin, in the sense that very soon or other you will kind of corrupt the field. So I gave an example of a person who, for example, is in the field of artistry, but who's placed as the lawgiver. So they will not do a good job. So they will create sin. So therefore, actually, although the world is very difficult, but to the degree that we do not work according to our nature, we can never be happy. We may try, we may force, we may just drag it along, but that satisfaction of heart. And how does this affect bhakti? Well, if we are not happy materially, it's going to be very difficult to concentrate spiritually. So like Shraddhanjali Mati was just happy. You can just look at her video, she's glowing, So I was just, when I seeing that, I was like, wow, she is a person who has found her place materially. She's just happy. So she can do bhakti also very easily.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yeah, great. Such a great question. And I'm sure we could obviously keep talking about this, but let's send where are you calling in from, Kripamoya Prabhu?
Durban, South Africa.
South Africa. What? No way. Well, our dear friend Rita is from Pietermaritzburg, South Africa. You see her on video there.
Yes.
Well, let's send some love to Kripamoya Prabhu. Amazing. Thank you so much. Beautiful question. And just kind of wrapping up here, being respectful of time. And I just want to say, because there's more questions in the chat and a lot coming up, we're going to share a link under the recording of this. Like Hemarupa Caitanya Prabhu, he's got a WhatsApp group. And he basically, you can send him questions anytime and he will share a response. And so, stay connected with him either on Instagram, YouTube. But his WhatsApp group is like, it's just such a gift to be able to ask questions whenever you have. But what would you leave us with, Prabhu? Kind of as we step into the rest of the world from here.
I think like a lot of people are getting questions on their mind, like how do I know my nature? How do I find out? And at the same time, there's also a lot of constraint. Like, although I know my nature is so and so, but today's day and age is forcing me to do something else. So can I postpone my dharma? And can I, like, probably just do what I have to do now and do what I am later, kind of thing? Well, the answer to this is to understand ourselves. Well, that's why we are doing this career counseling, career dharma counseling. Like I mentioned that book, there's also a website where you can go and sign up. You can get counseling from people to understand your nature. Second thing, you cannot postpone who you are. So if you postpone who you are, you're going to postpone your happiness. And you may not be earning $1 million, $1 billion, but nature, the universe, Lord, and the whole galaxy and everything is going to reward you with happiness and satisfaction, which is more bigger than anything. So unfortunately, the world today is so cruel that there's a rigid system of success. If you're not famous, if you're not rich, if you're not beautiful, then you're a failure. But the universe is going to reward you with satisfaction, which is bigger than all this. So it's a leap of faith. Definitely, it's a leap of faith. But why outsource happiness for something which is so tangible, which you can see and count as money, when infinite happiness and satisfaction is going to be there? So it's a leap of faith, and we invite people to take that chance, because this was what the world was before consumerism and all came up. The world was where I think people were working very naturally according to their natures, being very civil with each other. But now things are not like that. Everyone is frustrated. Like Terry says, would you be happy counting their money alone?
That's
Who would be happy?
so good. Let's do it together. I mean, just in the essence, the theme, sacred community, walking this path of love together. We're in this together, and it's such a gift to have you, Prabhu. So grateful for your wisdom and your presence, and so thank you for being with us. Thank you, everyone.
Dharma.
Yeah, check out the book. We'll share a link to that as well under the replay. Thank you to everyone for being here. Beautiful walking the path together, and catch the replays. Check out the conference website. Next up in an hour from now is Johnny Harrison, Grammy-nominated kirtan musician. So please come back for that. Until then, Hemarupa Caitanya Prabhu, thank you so much for your time. Wishing everybody an amazing rest of the day. We'll be back together again very soon. But sending all the love. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.